I'm Safia, and I'm really pleased to talk you through a whirlwind pace, People Tree, which is a dedicated fair trade fashion company. I started People Tree 24 years ago in Japan, and I do feel that it might have been quite difficult to not have started it in Japan. And the reason why is because the attention to design, to detail, the kind of patience with which a Japanese technical and design team will work with what are marginalised artisans in very, very rural settings in the developing world. Huge amount of patience, setting up a production line. No, we don't want to put a size 8 sleeve on a size 12 body, and going through again and again and again, sewing techniques, how to cut patterns, etc., etc. So the mission of People Tree, if you don't know People Tree as a fashion brand, in Japan it also sells fair trade and organic foods, and it has a small craft section as well. I'd love to talk to you, Sophie, about doing collaboration. But the mission is to alleviate poverty through promoting livelihoods and livelihoods in these developing countries, mostly amongst women, because women heads of household are a really great way of bringing income directly into the family, and also to protect the environment. Oops. Sorry. So if you go onto our website, you'll see. Now there's a lot of little symbols here. The first one on the left-hand side is the World Fair Trade Organization, which does a guarantee system, also an auditing process for fair trade throughout the whole manufacturing of the product. The second one, you'll have seen it on bananas and cotton products and cocoa and whatnot, the fair trade mark, which is for an agricultural commodity. Soil Association, of course, you know that very well for organic food. Certified organic cotton. Now, if the product is not certified, the cotton itself can be. And then we've developed hand weaving, hand embroidered, hand knitted and hand printed as a way of acknowledging those hand skills and how much livelihood and income that brings into rural development through using these craft skills. So again, as I've explained, we started over 20 years ago. I'm sorry. So back in the day, here's me with my Japanese team, doing really silly, sorry. So I'm not actually a trained designer, I hate to say, but I have a great, my grandmother was a handicraft, she was an embroidery designer. We started really with my going out to groups in Zimbabwe, Bangladesh, India, working with what were then fair trade groups who didn't really know anything about what a design spec was and how you actually develop products. And gradually I got first freelance part-time designers in, and now I have 2 design and technical teams of about 20 people in both countries, in London and Tokyo, designing. What was our route to market? Well, as insane as it sounds, we did about 40 festivals around Japan, in all kinds of places. I would pack up the boxes and whatnot. We shared a warehouse with WWF in Tokyo. And this basket there, that's my firstborn. He was, I think, about 3 weeks old. So we would do these kind of exhibitions at business trade shows, putting kind of fair trade on the map. It looks very handcrafted, as you can see. It was very handcrafted. And so I go out to the villages and meet the women's groups, assess what kind of technical and craft and heritage skill and what kind of natural resource that they have in plentiful supply, and what kind of products could we make. And so that's how the design process started. We set up the first fair trade and organic cotton supply chain right through to certifying the product in India about 15, 17 years ago. And of course, cotton is a very, very polluting fibre if it's conventionally produced, but by producing it organically, you can cut the water usage down by 60%. You can actually sequester into the ground about 1.5 tonnes per acre of organic agriculture, which reduces CO2. Through that programme, we run schools, clean water projects. And then we take that cotton and we put it through a fair trade supply chain. So then the weavers, the tailors are getting a fair trade, are getting a fair price as well. Obviously, what we're constantly looking at Peopletree is how do we promote the sustainable lifestyle, and we know that this is, the notion of an ethical consumer is a very old one. In Japan, it's the hit slogan and theme of this year: ethical fashion, ethical consumerism, and this has been part of our mission right the way through. So. Paying fair prices and development through craft and through agriculture, but at the same time looking at the most environmentally benign way of producing something and pioneering those different production methods. Why? Because, of course, as you know, vulnerable communities are literally being swept away. Their very land is being taken away from them. This is just half a village away from where we're producing at the moment. I've explained water consumption here. The fair trade premiums really go very deep into the villages, as I say, to promote education and clean water. And we are very, very collaborative in the way that we work. So the farmers are involved, they see the products they're made, they're invited on market exposure programs to come and meet with the buyers, with the press. And this really helps them to take charge of the marketplace. So we work with hand knitters. Difficult for us at the moment. In Nepal, we have 2,500 hand knitters. We have a huge amount of work there to do after 200 people have lost their homes. We use these craft skills also like hand weaving, which you might think is incredibly Luddite. Why would you use a hand loom in this day and age? But it's the second biggest employer in Bangladesh and India after agriculture. It's huge. It employs more than 10 million people. So by giving them design skills and access to the market and help with how we use those woven fabrics, we can actually be and make an incredible change to those communities. This is again looking at block print skills, natural dyes, making sure that fair trade is running all the way through the supply chain, through the World Fair Trade Organization, marks, and working with social businesses and fair trade businesses throughout. So this is some of the images of the producers. We work in designer collaborations with retailers, also with designer brands like Orla, with Zandra Rhodes. I just came back from a trip with her in Bangladesh, which was fab. And really making sure that we get also the opportunity in working with great designers and retail brands to really push ourselves, to learn more about what we need to do. So if we're doing something with Birkenstock, again, that teaches us how to do something new. The challenges have been, I'd say, without doubt, 50% advance payments. You can imagine how much capital we're tying up as working capital. We start 3 months before the design, the conventional fashion industry, because we're using hand skills, and it takes time to produce hand woven. The second thing would be that capacity building to those groups. We have technicians and designers going out working alongside those people, just so that they can help to institutionalize, pattern cutting skills and all the different areas of QC, of quality control and manufacture. And then really building a market for fair trade and ethical fashion. We did a fantastic collaboration. I think this was the watershed for us, certainly in 2007, with Vogue Japan. And this kind of gives you an overview of how we take the product to the market through press with our digital magazine and the kinds of stockists that we have around the world. I've gone over time. So sorry. Intellectual property. I think we'll have a discussion about that later, won't we? Yeah. Okay, great. Tips. So please get experience in the field that you want to start the business in first. I'm sure many of you have done that and launched your own businesses and are very valuing of it. Surround yourself with people that you can trust and are better than you in their different specialisms. 3, learn to plan and do your numbers well. I think these are overlapping very much with Sophie's. Build strong relationships with suppliers and key stakeholders, and then trust your intuition. And that's me. Thank you very much.